Part 10. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 91. Li Yuan's heart was agitated. Could it be that this traitor knew that this was a book written by me? I just want to kindly remind you that as a new era college student, you must be aware of copyright. As for whether you listen or not, it's up to you. Mad, I've been busy all day, and when I'm tired, go take a shower. Li Yuan was too lazy to say any more. These two traitors were so popular in piracy that they owed him dozens of dollars. When Li Yuan got into the bathroom, Lu Jia was still muttering, "Brother Yuan, there is something wrong today. I always feel like I have forgotten something." Suzuki-young also feels this way. As top students of 985 University, their brains are undoubtedly very good. Lucia, I feel the same way. I didn't feel it before I saw Brother Yuan. After hearing what he said, this strange feeling became even stronger. Li Yuan doesn't seem to read books. Why is he so concerned about the relationship between genuine and pirated copies? Lucia thought for a long time, and suddenly an idea flashed in his mind, and he thought of something, and he asked quickly. "Old Su, what is the name of the author of Fighting the Starry Sky?" Suzuki-young blurted out, "Xia Flower God, who doesn't know this?" "Where's the full name of Xia Flower God?" Lucia continued to ask. Suzuki-young thought for a while and replied, "The full name of the summer flower god is Shengruxiawa." Born like a summer flower, Lucia murmured to himself, his eyes lit up, and he thought of a possibility. He quickly opened QQ and checked the avatars of his WeChat friends. He searched for Li Yuan's avatar, clicked on the avatar information, and checked the QQ nickname. It was the 4 words "born like a summer flower." Lucia, as if Columbus had discovered the new world, swore, "Damn it, no way. Brother Yuan's online name is Shengruxiawa, which is exactly the same as the author of Fighting Starry Sky. Suzuki-young was shocked. Could it be that Brother Yuan is the author of Battle of the Stars? The most popular writer on the internet is actually next to me. As he spoke, Suzuki-young shook his head again and questioned this crazy idea. It shouldn't be possible. I've never seen Brother Yuan write a novel. And Fighting Starry Sky is updated with more than 10,000 words every day. Lucia raised a question, is it possible that Brother Yuan's screen name and that great writer's screen name just happen to be the same? Suzuki-young quite agreed. He felt that he was overthinking it. Xiahuashan had become very popular because of the book Fighting the Starry Sky. He was Wang Wenji's most popular newcomer, a great writer. How could he be my own roommate? Some people on the internet are called students like summer flowers. There are not only 1,000, but also 800. It's normal to have the same name. Besides, Yuandian Chinese website and QQ are different platforms, and they are incompatible with each other. Lucia still had some doubts, mainly because Li Yuan's behavior was weird. If it had nothing to do with him, what was the meaning of what he said? Is it really to fight against the injustice for the author? He doesn't even read novels. Besides, this little thing is nothing. There are too many injustices in society. Old Su, is there any way to check the true identity of the author of Fighting Starry Sky? Suzuki-young asked in confusion, let's just ask Brother Yuan directly. There should be nothing to hide about such a glorious thing. Based on the current popularity of Star Wars, it shouldn't be a big problem for Xiahuashan to earn dozens of Ws a month, or even hundreds of Ws. Lucia muttered, if you ask him about Brother Yuan's character, he will definitely deny it. Let's search it online first. Suzuki-young hesitated slightly, nodded and said, that's fine, it won't cost anything. Lucia and Suzuki-young came to the computer, opened the browser, and searched for the true identity of the author of Fighting Starry Sky born like a summer flower. After a while, relevant messages appeared in the browser. Making $1 million a month, the author of Fighting in the Starry Sky became a god in one book. College student, the true identity of the author of the online sacred book Fighting Starry Sky Born Like a Summer Flower is exposed. Decrypting the writing experience of Born Like a Summer Flower, a new great writer in the internet literary circle. QQ Group News revealed that the simplified version of Fighting Starry Sky will be published soon. The Origin Chinese website is expected to hold an offline book signing event in Shanghai during the 10.1 National Day holiday. Great writers and writers such as Xia Huawei will be present in person. Lu Jia and Su Ziqiang clicked on the searched news one by one, with shocked looks in their eyes, and the feeling in their hearts became more and more intense. They integrated all kinds of information they searched on the internet and really made a huge discovery, and various clues made the question of whether Li Yuan was a great writer born like a summer flower even more confusing. Su Ziqiang made a suggestion: I think you can join the fan group of Battle of the Stars and then ask around in the group. Lu Jia muttered, if you fully subscribe to join the group, it will cost 50 yuan, which is enough for my living expenses for several days. Su Ziqiang took out 25 yuan in change from his wallet and handed it to Lu Jia. Well, we both watch pirated copies all the time. Let's subscribe to support the author. We will split the 50 yuan equally. Lu Jia nodded and started a series of operations. I registered a reader account on the Origin Chinese website and linked my bank card. I spent 50 yuan to subscribe to Fighting Starry Sky. I took a screenshot of my subscription and added the message to verify it. After a while, it was verified and I joined the fan group. Su Ziqiang quickly urged, Sir, please ask in the group. Lu Jia was excited and immediately asked in the group. Excuse me, does anyone know the real identity of Xia Huashen? This full subscription group has more than 1,000 members, and there are many active group members. As soon as Lu Jia's question was sent out, someone answered it. The person who asked this question is a book friend who has just joined the group. Xia Huashen is a freshman at a 985 university in Shanghai. It seems that he has just finished military training. As for which university it is still unknown. Su Ziqiang and Lu Jia saw this reply, looked at each other, and saw the shock in their eyes. Their Daxia University is one of the 985 universities in Shanghai, and Li Yuan is also a freshman. It matches, it matches. However, whether it is true or not needs further verification. At Lu Jia, if you really want to know the true identity of Xia Huashen, you can add him on QQ and ask him. The owner of this fan group is Xia Huashen, but he often lurks and rarely speaks in the group. Lu Jia slapped his thigh and yelled, yes, this is a good idea. Just check if it is Brother Yuan's QQ number. Su Ziqiang was already extremely excited and urged, add it quickly, the truth will be revealed soon. Lu Jia clicked on the group members and found the group owner at the top. He clicked on the avatar and saw that it was exactly the same as Li Yuan's avatar, nickname, and other information. Moreover, he is already a mutual friend with. It's confirmed the well-known online writer is really my roommate. Lu Jia shouted, damn, it's true. Brother Yuan is so awesome. It's unimaginable. Su Ziqiang was also stunned. Even though he had some guesses in his mind, he still couldn't believe it when he completed the verification. This is the most popular new writer in the online literature world. The book Battle of the Stars has always been firmly in the top 3 of all book sales rankings on the entire network, and it has been the first for most of the time. According to the information found, the author of Battle of the Stars must have a monthly income of 7 figures. What a concept! 1 month's income can buy a house in Shanghai in full. 1 month's income may be higher than their lifetime income. Yijing was also startled by the movements of Su Ziqiang and Lu Jia, and asked curiously, Lao Su, what great writer are you talking about? Born like a summer flower, Brother Yuan, what are you talking about? Wu Hao, who had been chatting on the phone, also asked, look at the two of you making so much noise, what happened? Lucia and Suzuki-young were still in an excited mood. Hearing this, Lucia looked at Li Yuan, who was taking a shower mysteriously, and asked Wu Hao and Yi Jing, "Old Wu, Jing, do you know how awesome brother Yuan is?" Yi Jing really didn't know. The impression Li Yuan gave him was that he was a tall, rich, handsome, approachable man with a good mouth and a love of driving. He didn't know much about other things, so he asked innocently, "What earth-shattering thing did brother Yuan do to shock you two so much?" Wu Hao also asked, "That's right, could it be that brother Yuan took down Xiang Qin Yang Kaiu at the same time as he took down Xia's Haijin?" Lucia said enviously, "Haha, if brother Yuan's true identity is really exposed, let alone Xia's Haijin, Xiang Qin Yang Kaiu, and Wang Zhurong, brother Yuan can afford to support a few more girls." Suzuki-young was also full of emotion, showing his sincere admiration. "I used to think that brother Yuan was just lucky and was a second generation. Now it seems that brother Yuan is awesome enough. He is a real first generation rich and a veritable millionaire." Lucia thought of the monthly income of the author of Battle Starry Sky that he searched, and he didn't know what kind of mood to express. Too low, too low. Brother Yuan must be a multimillionaire at least. Even if he earns 1 million a month, he must earn tens of millions a year. I can't even imagine making so much money in my lifetime. Yi Jing's curiosity was aroused, and he hurriedly urged, "What riddles are you two playing? Tell us quickly, what happened to brother Yuan?" Zhou Tianyu also stopped playing Crossfire after playing a game, looked at Lucia, Suzuki-young, and others, and said dissatisfiedly, "I'm just playing a game, why are you making so much noise here?" Since Zhou Tianyu lost the election for the acting monitor in the freshman class meeting, he has lost interest in class affairs and is addicted to playing games and flirting with girls every day. In his words, "Women can make my body happy, and games can make my spirit happy." Lucia glanced at Zhou Tianyu. This roommate regarded himself as a rich second generation every day, and walked with an arrogant attitude, with an air of "the sky is the boss, I am the second." He decided to tease him and give Zhou Tianyu some mental shock. "Tianyu, I heard that your family is doing sexy underwear business in Guanyun. How much money can you make in a year?" Zhou Tianyu lives a good life. As a second-generation businessman, he has really studied his business. His family has a processing plant with hundreds of people, and the wages paid out every year are several million. In some years with better market conditions, the annual net income is about 2 to 3 million. This income is not low. A house in Shanghai or Beijing is only 1 million yuan at this time. Zhou Tianyu spoke calmly, with a kind of king-like temperament. "I can make 1 million yuan a year, which is average. It's nothing." He originally wanted to show off and waited to hear the shock and compliments of Lucia, Suzuki-young, and others. Unexpectedly, Lucia nodded seriously, "If you only make more than 1 million, it's really not much, and it's far behind brother Yuan." Zhou Tianyu frowned slightly. This plot development is not right. What does it have to do with Li Yuan? What does it mean to be far worse than Li Yuan? Lucia, I mean the annual income is more than 1 million, not the total assets. Don't get me wrong. Lucia smiled and was about to speak when Li Yuan came out of the shower. He walked over and looked at Li Yuan carefully, looking at his muscles and the 8 angular abdominal muscles, and then thinking of his identity as a great writer and a monthly income of 1 million. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 92. Lucia said numbly, "Brother Yuan, are you in need of a bed warmer today? I've already washed it." "Go away, you little man." Li Yuan laughed and cursed, came to the bed, and was about to put on his jersey. Suzuki-young also walked over, gave Li Yuan a thumbs up, and said meaningfully, "Brother Yuan, you are so secretive. We all underestimated you. We thought you were good enough at flirting with girls, but we never expected that you are really good in other places." After listening to this, Li Yuan subconsciously glanced at his lower body. The second fierce de was indeed very powerful and majestic. In my previous life, it would have been a pity not to enjoy the flowery language of steel wool and work part-time to earn some extra money. I can imitate Lu Suand and say my second brother is invincible in the world, but he can't eat those lonely rich women to death. Isn't it much easier and more comfortable than Lao Shiza working part-time as a coder to stay up late and write books? Before Li Yuan said anything, Lucia chuckled and stared at Li Yuan. Brother Yuan, tell the brothers how on earth you did it. Li Yuan's habitual question mark face? Lucia stared at Li Yuan with burning eyes. Battle of the Stars is like a summer flower. Brother Yuan, do you want me to continue? Suzuki-young also smiled excitedly, glanced at Yijing, Wu Hao, who were still a little confused, and Zhou Tianyu, who looked confused, and said to Li Yuan, Brother Yuan, please tell me your true identity, and shock their attention. Only then did Li Yuan realize that his true identity was suddenly exposed. He imitated Charlotte's tone and said, Oh, I originally wanted to get along with you as an ordinary person, but what I got in exchange was alienation. I don't want to pretend anymore. I am a great writer and a millionaire. Let's show my cards. Chapter 94, the class group was detonated. Li Yuan became Tang Monk Meat, 2 in -1, please subscribe. Hearing Li Yuan's personal admission, even though Lucia and Suzuki-young already knew, they still felt like they were dreaming. The new great writer making millions a month was really their college roommate. Zhou Tianyu looked puzzled. Li Yuan, what on earth are you talking about? What kind of millionaire or great writer? Li Yuan smiled and said nothing, but Lucia was already popularizing science with Zhou Tianyu, blowing Li Yuan to the sky. Tianyu, do you know about online novels? Zhou Tianyu nodded, I've seen it several times before. Lucia chuckled, do you know the most popular online novels nowadays? Zhou Tianyu shook his head, I don't know, I haven't watched it for a long time. Lucia patted Zhou Tianyu on the shoulder, looked proud, and said in an old-fashioned way. Tianyu, I'm not telling you, don't play games every day in the future, pay attention to online literature, and you will understand how awesome Brother Yuan is. Zhou Tianyu slapped Lucia's claws off, stop talking nonsense, just say it, okay. You're so annoying. Lucia didn't take it seriously. After thinking about it, he decided to use Zhou Tianyu's family's annual income as the unit of measurement, which was more shocking and intuitive. Let me tell you this, Brother Yuan's monthly income from writing books is more than your family's annual income. Zhou Tianyu stood up in shock and looked at the calm-looking Li Yuan in shock, his voice rising loudly. Li Yuan, is what Lucia said true? You are writing online novels and can earn more than 1 million a month. After Wu Hao and Yijing heard this, they both put down what they were doing, looked at Li Yuan in shock, and exclaimed loudly, in disbelief. Is it true? Brother Yuan, you can make more than 1 million a month. It's too exaggerated. It's unbelievable. My family's total property, including old houses and other fixed assets, is far less than 1 million. With 1 million, I can buy a house in Shanghai with full payment, and then settle down in Shanghai. That is my lifelong dream. Brother Yuan realized it in 1 month. Why are we all college students, but you have changed, became a freak? I asked on the forum. The average annual salary of our computer science graduates is about 100,000 yuan. If you want to earn 1 million yuan, you need to work without food or water for 10 years. And this is only Brother Yuan's monthly income. Mada, Brother Yuan, you are simply a god. Compared with you, we are all weak. Wu Hao uttered several sentences in a row, turned over, jumped off the bed, squatted down in an exaggerated manner, hugged Li Yuan's thigh, and followed the example of the ancients in saluting. My foster father is here, please accept my child's obeisance. From now on, I will lead the horse and hold the stool for my foster father, saddle the horse in front and behind the horse, and go through fire and water without hesitation. Li Yuan trembled in disgust and gave Wu Hao a big mallet. I don't want to pick up a traitor for nothing. Lu Jia immediately became anxious when she saw someone snatching her position as adopted son. She walked up behind Li Yuan with a flattering look on her face, took the initiative to pinch Li Yuan's back, and kept saying words to make Li Yuan happy. Brother Yuan, no, adoptive father, from now on the basketball court, I will be your personal protector, Pippin next to Jordan, willing to be your second child. I grab rebounds, you shoot, I pick and roll, you pass, you ask me to move toward the west, but I will never move toward the west. Li Yuan was very speechless. Can you two stop acting so exaggeratedly? It's just over 1 million, just a small amount of money. Just when Lu Jiaqian was about to speak, Wu Hao already extended his thumb. Listen, Brother Yuan, have a plan. For Brother Yuan, just over 1 million is nothing. Next year, Brother Yuan will be on the rich list of internet writers. It is not a dream to earn more than 100 million a year. Li Yuan glanced at Wu Hao strangely. If you can speak, just speak more. It's strange, how come these traders haven't noticed before that they all speak so nicely? If you are so good at talking, then continue to say a few more words. Lu Jia squeezed Li Yuan's shoulders with a playful smile. Brother Yuan, let me ask you a question, how much money can you make in a month? Li Yuan rolled his eyes at him. Lao Lu, you want to know so much? I'm afraid the blow to you will be too great and you won't be able to bear it. Lu Jia chuckled. Brother Yuan, I have a strong psychological endurance. Tell me, you see, Yi Jing, Lao Su, Mozi, and Tian Yu are all waiting eagerly. Wu Hao and others also spoke one after another. Brother Yuan, tell us, so we can help you install the pen. I guess it must be more than 1 million. I have seen the annual income rankings of the richest online writers. The highest one last year seemed to have reached 30 million. Brother Yuan's Fighting Starry Sky is also very popular. It has been ranked first on the best-selling list of Origin Chinese website for a long time. The annual income should not be less than 20 to 30 million. Doesn't that mean that Brother Yuan's monthly income can be 3 to 4 million? This is a bit too scary. Li Yuan hurriedly coughed and rolled his eyes speechlessly. It's not as exaggerated as you said, it's only more than 200 points a month. Those who earn 30 to 40 million per year are because of selling copyrights or selling physical books, etc. Lu Jia's body trembled, and he almost spit out a mouthful of old blood. It's only a little over 200, Brother Yuan, you are really awesome. 2 million, 2 apartments in Shanghai. Even Zhou Tianyu, who had always been arrogant, took a breath and felt it was incredible. His conditions were very good, and his family's total assets exceeded 10 million, but even so, he was incomparable to Li Yuan. Because those are all assets including real estate and factories, and there is not much pure cash. Li Yuan's net income is 2 million per month, which is 24 million per year, which is higher than the income his family has accumulated for generations. This is an exaggeration. Zhou Tianyu looked deeply at Li Yuan with complicated emotions. After Li Yuan's true identity was revealed, he no longer had any psychological advantage over Li Yuan. Wu Hao asked curiously, Brother Yuan, you make so much money every day, how do you plan to spend it? Wu Hao's question was also a question shared by several other people in the dormitory. In 2008, when the per capita salary was less than 2,000 and the average monthly consumption of college students was only 500 or 600, Li Yuan's wealth was already an astronomical figure to them. Let me see, Brother Yuan can pick up girls in the university and open a harem. Wouldn't it be fun? Now that we have Xia's Haijin, Xiang Tan Yang Kaiu, and the beautiful lady who had dinner with us that day, we can directly enjoy the life of an emperor. Anyway, brother Yuan's name is Li Yuan, so he lives up to his name. Lucia's lips almost opened as he spoke, as if he was being brought into Li Yuan's position. Su Ziqiang rolled his eyes. This is the 21st century, not a feudal dynasty. Men still want to have 3 wives and 4 concubines. Don't even think about it. Besides, Xia's Haijin in our class is really beautiful. Brother Yuan should treat her well. After hearing this, Zhou Tianyu chuckled, pointed at Su Ziqiang, and shook his head. Old Su, this society is not as simple as you said. Haha, what are 3 wives and 4 concubines? The real rich circle has more fun than you can imagine. There are too many flowers. I once knew a young man who gathered dozens of girls to have sex at the same time. Forget it, I won't say it, for fear of affecting your 3 views. The more Zhou Tianyu said nothing, the more curious others became. Lucia also had a look of shock on his face. Tianyu, you can do it? Have you experienced it too? What you used to brag to us about every day, such as love saints, aren't they all true? Zhou Tianyu smiled and said nothing more. There are 6 people in their dormitory. Except for Li Yuan, who is an old man who often drives, the other 4 are all pure and simple boys. He himself had barely entered the circle of those second generations, and had seen how luxurious their lives were. If he told it, even a few people in the dormitory would not believe it. This is class. Zhou Tianyu looked at Li Yuan, who looked like an old god, and suddenly felt envious and jealous in his heart. Li Yuan will really be able to kill indiscriminately in our class, no, in our school from now on. Su Ziqiang continued to ask, Brother Yuan, tell me, what are you going to do after earning so much money? You can just lie down and enjoy college life. If you have nothing to do, fall in love and play basketball. It's not a pleasure. Li Yuan was speechless. With the wealth he had now, according to what they said, he could indeed have the freedom of wealth, live and drink, change brides every day, make new ones every night, and taste different styles of flaming red lips. If you follow the example of the scumbag patriarch and experience all the splendors of the world, when you are in your 30s or 40s and are tired of playing, you may consider having a child. Li Yuan glanced at his roommates and decided to help them. As for whether they believed it or not, he had no control over whether they would listen or not. I have my own plan on how to spend the money. However, if your family can afford the down payment, I suggest you buy an apartment in Shanghai. House prices will definitely rise sharply in the future. After Li Yuan finished speaking, Zhou Tianyu was thoughtful. Otherwise, he would not have been able to have multiple girlfriends in high school and be admitted to Daxia University if he had a very flexible mind. Li Yuan has always performed very well. With his current status, there is no need to lie. Maybe he can try to persuade my parents to buy a few apartments in Magic City. Yijing sat silently on the bed without saying a word. He was in a depressed mood and suddenly felt a little inferior. He was just a child from a rural area in the northwest. This was the first time in his life that he entered a big city and felt the disparity of life. Lucia was from a working family. He listened carefully to Li Yuan's introduction and was secretly thinking whether it was necessary to do so. Wu Hao looked at Li Yuan very seriously. Brother Yuan, will the housing prices in Shanghai really rise sharply? My family can get together hundreds of thousands of yuan and pay a down payment in Shanghai, but if I don't have a suitable reason, I can't convince my parents to take out this pension. Li Yuan nodded. There was no need to hide his shortcomings. The economic crisis has not passed yet. There are people who are pessimistic about the housing market and those who are optimistic about the housing market. It's just that everyone's choices are different, which also determines people's destiny to a certain extent. Chance and fate are so exaggerated. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 93. Hazi, Laoliu, brothers, I am optimistic about the Chinese real estate market, especially Shanghai, Beijing, and Shenzhen. With the rapid economic development of our country and the acceleration of the internationalization process, housing prices will not only rise, but the increase will be beyond your imagination. Buying a house now will not be a loss. Seeing that everyone was listening carefully, Li Yuan couldn't help but sigh. This is the role of status. If he was just an ordinary college student, even if he said something fancy, it would have no effect at all. Others would just treat his words as a joke. But now he is a great writer with an annual income of tens of millions, and the weight of his words is completely different. As for whether you can persuade your parents to take out their coffin money to buy a house, it depends on your own means. Anyway, if you believe in me, take out all your savings and buy a house in Shanghai, Beijing, and Shenzhen. After a few years, I guarantee you will thank me. Li Yuan spoke lightly, and what he said was all from the bottom of his heart. At this stage, investing in real estate is much more cost-effective than investing in any stocks, and you can get nearly 50% return every year. If you take out 1 million to buy a house now, you can sell it for at least 7 or 8 million in 6 or 7 years. If you really don't want to struggle anymore, you can sell the house and go back to a provincial capital or hometown and live comfortably for the rest of your life. Wu Hao stared at Li Yuan eagerly. I believe in Brother Yuan's vision. I will talk to my parents when I go back during the National Day. Brother Yuan, if I lose, I will follow you for the rest of my life. Lu Jie muttered, then I will try it too. If I can really convince my parents, I can still get hundreds of thousands of dollars. Get out, you guys, don't spread the news that I wrote an online novel. Only the people in our dormitory know it. After Li Yuan finished speaking, he deliberately stared at Zhou Tianyu, and the meaning was self-evident. It was this guy who exposed the fact that he was a freshman and pretended to be a senior to Zhou Tingyu and others, which almost killed him. Fortunately, he was smart and made up a story on the spot. Zhou Tianyu felt a little guilty when Li Yuan looked at him meaningfully. Li Yuan, why are you looking at me like that? I will definitely keep my mouth shut. Li Yuan sneered, haha in response. Zhou Tianyu was anxious and swore, Li Yuan, I will really keep my mouth shut. A real man should stick to his word. I don't believe you. Li Yuan didn't believe a word. At this moment, a weak voice suddenly spoke. Well, Brother Yuan, I'm sorry. The speaker was Su Ziqiang, who looked very guilty and worried at Li Yuan. Li Yuan was stunned and was about to ask why he said that. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration came to his mind. He looked at Su Ziqiang seriously and frowned. Old Su, don't tell me that you have spread the news, right? Su Ziqiang was so scared when he saw Li Yuan's serious expression. Li Yuan is a tall and strong man with muscular body. He is usually good looking, but once he gets serious, he is absolutely terrifying. Now that Li Yuan's identity has been exposed, he is a great writer with an annual income of tens of millions, and his weight and majesty are even greater. Although he didn't know why Li Yuan didn't want to reveal his identity, this was obviously a great opportunity to show off, but since Li Yuan did this, he must have his reasons. Look at what stupid things he did. Su Ziqiang's tone was a little trembling at this time. Brother Yuan, I'm so sorry, I accidentally sent it out. You can beat me or scold me. Li Yuan saw Su Ziqiang's expression, but he was not angry. His identity would be exposed sooner or later, but he didn't expect it to be exposed so early. Speaking of which, it was also his own fault. When he saw Lucia and Su Ziqiang reading the novel he worked hard to write on the pirated website, he couldn't help but say a few words. Then, he forgot that he had never changed his online name, and was directly found by several high-IQ roommates, who dug out his vest. Li Yuan said calmly, where did you post it? Can you withdraw it now? Suzuki-young was about to answer, but Yijing, who had been silent, suddenly said. In the class group, the discussion has gone crazy. You can see it by looking at the phone. Li Yuan was confused and quickly took the phone. Before he opened the QQ group, there were already dozens of dialog boxes flashing in the frame. He took a rough look and found that they were all students from computer class 1. There were both male and female students, and the majority were female students. Some added friends, and some sent messages to ask and greet. When he entered the QQ group of computer class 1, the group messages at this time had accumulated to thousands of unread messages in a short period of time. Li Yuan only took a look and could imagine how intense the discussion in the class group would be. He quickly flipped to the top layer, which was about 10 minutes ago when he had just come out of the shower and personally admitted his identity. Suzuki-young sent such a message in the group, which quickly detonated the entire class group. Shocking news, Li Yuan personally admitted that he was the great writer born like summer flowers who wrote Battle of the Stars and earned $1 million a month. Next, the plot did not exceed Li Yuan's expectations. The first person to question was a girl, someone Li Yuan had never thought of but thought was reasonable, Wang Zhirong. Wang Zhirong's sarcastic message was still hanging in the group message because it was withdrawn relatively late. Haha, if you brag, be realistic and don't apply any identity to yourself. Then, there was a reply from Suzuki-young. If you don't believe it, you can directly join the fan group of Battle of the Stars. Just ask and you will know that the owner of the fan group is Li Yuan. Seeing that Suzuki-young was very confident, other students in the group began to discuss, and other students with strong actions began to search and verify. When the acting class monitor sent the screenshot of the verification request to Tan Yang to the group, the communication in the class group reached its peak. Li Yuan just took a brief look, and the people in the group kept asking him to come forward and explain. Li Yuan did not reply. Looking at Suzuki-young, who seemed to be about to cry because of self-blame and guilt, he was very speechless. It would be okay if he sends it to someone. As long as he says hello, it can still be concealed and it won't spread so quickly. Unlike now, not only the whole class knows about it, but tomorrow, I'm afraid it will spread throughout Daxia University. After all, making millions a year, being a great writer, being a freshman, all the gimmicks are too exaggerated. This is what it feels like to be reborn in Tudo 985 University. Zhou Tianyu, Lucia, and Wu Hao, after reading the news in the class group, looked at Suzuki-young who was shivering, and they all showed helpless expressions. Lucia coughed and felt that Suzuki-young had done something wrong. In this case, it was obvious that he should seek Li Yuan's opinion. Ahem, brother Yuan, the news has spread, what are you going to do? Wu Hao also comforted him, brother Yuan, maybe you can think about it from another angle. After the news spreads, it may not be a bad thing. From now on, brother Yuan, you can walk away in school. Li Yuan rolled his eyes and said speechlessly, I'm not a crab, I can still walk sideways. Forget it, just spread the word. Just keep a low profile from now on. Suzuki-young glanced at Li Yuan with some worry, fearing that he would have an opinion on him because of this matter, so he continued to apologize sincerely, brother Yuan, I did something wrong in this matter, and it caused you inconvenience. I really regret it, I'm sorry. Li Yuan said with a bad smile, old Su, since you apologize sincerely, we are brothers and I will forgive you. However, you have to wash my socks for a month. Suzuki-young said in surprise, brother Yuan, it's no problem if I just wash my socks for a month. Let alone 1 month, it will be 3 months. Just don't be angry with me. Li Yuan smiled awkwardly, he just wanted to make a joke. Old Su, don't blame yourself too much. Just be more careful in the future. If something like this happens again, talk to your buddies before taking action. Suzuki-young nodded seriously, I swear, I will never do it again. Seeing that Li Yuan forgave Su Ziqiang, Lucia, Wu Hao and others also breathed a sigh of relief. The relationship between their roommates is pretty good, but it would not look good if there was a quarrel because of this incident. Li Yuan felt very tired, so he got up and lay down on the bed. Okay, brothers, it's almost 12 o'clock in the evening. Let's all go to bed. When Lucia saw Li Yuan going to bed, he suddenly remembered something and asked curiously, Brother Yuan, you update so many words every day, why haven't I seen you write a book? Li Yuan rolled his eyes at him, can you see me when I'm coding, doesn't that mean Tai Shi is dead? However, now that they all know it, it doesn't matter. Didn't I take leave from military training? During your military training, I stayed in the dormitory and coded. Lucia suddenly realized that everything made sense in an instant. During the military training, Lucia was still wondering why Li Yuan competed with the instructor and then stopped coming. Although college military training is very hard, it is also a rare experience. You only have one chance in life, and it is a pity to miss it like this. Now that I think about it, it was all premeditated. After all, half a month of military training is nothing to them, but to Li Yuan, it is an income of hundreds of thousands, and he will soon be able to buy an apartment in Shanghai. Compared with this, military training is indeed insignificant. After thinking about all this, Lucia gave Li Yuan a thumbs up. Brother Yuan, you are indeed a great writer. You are so awesome with this one after another. Several other people also suddenly realized, and then they understood why Li Yuan suddenly had a conflict with the instructor and started a competition. It's not exactly what you think. Go to sleep, Mad, I've been busy all day today and I'm exhausted, Li Yuan muttered, lay down on the bed, turned on his phone, and looked at the requests to add friends one by one. Yan Qi requests to add you as a friend. Note, great talent, I am Xiang Tan, can I be a friend? Li Yuan's heart moved. He didn't expect that a girl with Xiang Yangkai's personality, the class monitor, would take the initiative to add him as a friend, so he agreed. The most beautiful Rong requests to add you as a friend. Note, great talent, guess who I am? A little kawaii requests to add you as a friend. Note, handsome guy, please pass. Li Yuan deliberately counted, and 18 of the 24 girls in the class suddenly added him as friends. He raised his eyebrows, raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and muttered to himself, am I going to turn into Tang monk meat now? Chapter 95 Girls Charging for Love. Zuyuan, 6608 Girls Dormitory. After Xia's Haijin separated from Li Yuan, she stayed in the dormitory and used the computer to organize various data and records for today's interview. She was searching the internet for some knowledge about online game technology companies. She didn't know that so many things happened in the class group message. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 94. Until Shenzhou came to her with a shocked look on her cell phone, and asked doubtfully. Haijin, do you know Li Yuan's true identity? Xia's Haijin nodded hesitantly. She knew for sure that not only had she visited it in person, but she was also helping Li Yuan conduct interviews today. Shenzhou said in surprise, the legend is actually true. Li Yuan is so awesome. I can't even imagine how he did it. Shenzhou thought about the news that broke out in the class group. It was a great writer and an annual income of 1 million. Although it had not been completely confirmed, it was almost certain. Now, there is personal confirmation from Xia's Haijin, Li Yuan's girlfriend, which means that the group message is indeed true. Shenzhou looked at the innocent and lovely Xia's Haijin. Even though she had a good relationship with Xia's Haijin, she couldn't help but feel envious. Several of their roommates had also speculated before about Li Yuan's identity, what his family situation was like, and whether he was a second-generation person. But that's all. Because they didn't know Li Yuan's true situation, they didn't think that Li Yuan was unattainable. I just thought he was good at flirting with girls and had a good eye for it. On the day of the freshman class meeting, he discovered Xia's Haijin, a treasure girl with a fairy-like appearance and a gentle and innocent personality. But now, it's completely different. Li Yuan's true identity has been exposed. He is a freshman, making millions a month, a great writer, and can be said to be a rising star with an unlimited future. Such high-quality boys who stand out by their own talents are more able to attract top female students like herself than those second-generation students. Xia's Haijin was thinking about Li Yuan building such a big company, and during the interview, with his extremely confident and wise demeanor, a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, and he said softly and shyly, "He may be really good." Seeing Xia's Haijin's shy expression, Shenziu felt a little sour in her heart. Thinking of the madness that would result if Li Yuan's true identity was exposed, she couldn't help but specially warn this cute and silly girl. "Haijin, Li Yuan is so good, you have to protect him and don't let other girls take him away. I feel that after this news came out, our class, and even our entire Daxia University, will catch a lot of people who want to go after Li Yuan. From today on, he will become the perfect male god in the hearts of many girls. He is tall, handsome, athletic, young, and rich, and talented. Tisk tisk, Haijin, I feel that you will definitely become a love rival in the eyes of many girls." "He is indeed very good," Xia's Haijin nodded shyly, recalling in her mind going to the supermarket with Li Yuan, buying food together, cooking together, and, she couldn't help but feel her cheeks getting hot, and she didn't dare to think too much. When Shenziu expressed emotion, Ji Chen Chen, an aboriginal girl from Shanghai, suddenly trembled. She quickly put her phone close to her body, glanced at Shenziu and Xia's Haijin, and lowered her head with some guilt. She had just added Li Yuan as a friend and was nervously waiting for Li Yuan's reply. Ji Chen Chen looked at Li Yuan's real girlfriend Xia's Haijin with extremely complex eyes, feeling anxious and secretly cheering for himself. "If I do this, will Xia's Haijin fall out with me if she finds out? You can't blame me. Every girl has the right to pursue happiness. Li Yuan is so good, good enough for me to lower my status and take the initiative to show my kindness. Although Xia's Haijin is very beautiful, I'm not bad either. I'm a native of Shanghai. She's just a girl from a remote mountainous area. Besides, there are too many beautiful girls. If you really want to talk about marriage, it depends on whether you are a good match and whether your parents agree. I still have a chance, Chen Chen. In order to pursue your own happiness, you did nothing wrong. Come on, you can do it." Shenziu asked curiously, "Haijin, when did Li Yuan start?" "Tomorrow, I want to see how good his writing is and how he can make so much money." Xia's Haijin's head was confused. She really didn't know when Li Yuan established the company. He hesitated and said, "I don't know exactly. It should be before school starts." He, of course it's before school starts, at least 2 or 3 months as Shenziu said. She suddenly remembered something and asked curiously, "Haijin, did Li Yuan tell you how much money he can make in a month?" "How much money do you make?" Xia's Haijin shook his head, thinking that Li Yuan's company had just been established, and the people he recruited today shouldn't be able to make any money, right? Shenziu looked at Xia's Haijin in surprise. "Haijin, didn't he tell you his income?" Xia's Haijin shook her head shyly. Shenziu snorted softly, held Xia's Haijin's little hand, and reminded, "Haijin, you should be more careful in the future. Li Yuan is so profitable, but he doesn't tell you about his income. There must be something wrong with this. Maybe he is right. You have a hand." Xia's Haijin frowned slightly, not agreeing with what Shenziu said. She said softly, "Ziu, I believe him, and I hope you won't say this about him in the future." Shenziu choked, looking at Xia's Haijin's protecting her husband appearance. She felt very cute. Okay, okay, I understand. In your heart, Li Yuan must be the best in the world. Xia's Haijin's face turned red and she lowered her head without denying it. Shenzhou sighed with emotion, however, Li Yuan is really good. He can make millions a month by writing an online novel. It's really an exaggeration. Xia's Haijin listened in a daze, and asked doubtfully, 11U, what are you talking about? Li Yuan, he writes novels. Shenzhou's eyes widened, Haijin, we have been talking for a long time, but you don't know that Li Yuan writes novels. Xia's Haijin answered honestly, I don't know. Shenzhou was speechless, I thought you knew everything. Xia's Haijin was also confused. Wasn't it the company in question? What do you know? I was confused. Seeing that Xia's Haijin didn't look like lying, Shenzhou explained carefully. Just look at the class group and you will know that Li Yuan's true identity has been exposed. His roommate Suzuki Young said it personally in the group. Li Yuan is the great author who wrote the now very popular online novel Fighting Stars. Like Summer Flowers, I heard that Li Yuan's monthly manuscript fee income is millions. At this time, Li Lanrong, who was chatting and eating melon in the group, shouted. The results are out. Xiang Tan sent the screenshot to the group. Li Yuan is really a great writer, and his income should be real. They are all discussing that according to Li Yuan's popularity as a writer, his monthly income of millions may be small. Next year it is very likely that with this book, I will enter the rich list of internet writers. Li Lanrong's exclamation also caused several other roommates to speak out. Zhang Zhe exclaimed, it's true. Li Yuan is so amazing. It's true. With a monthly income of 1 million, he can buy a house in Shanghai. Gao Xian expressed great admiration, how on earth did he do it? I have written romance novels before, and I submitted them to a girl's website, but I couldn't sign a contract at all. Shenzhou stared at Gao Xian curiously, Xingxin, have you also written a novel? Why haven't I heard you say that before? Gao Xian looked slightly embarrassed, didn't I sign a contract? Of course I'm embarrassed to tell you. Today, I saw Li Yuan's identity suddenly revealed, so I'm embarrassed to tell you. He, Li Yuan is a great writer on the Origin Chinese website. I will ask him for advice more in the future. As soon as Gao Xian finished speaking, he realized something was wrong. Li Yuan's real girlfriend was by his side, and he was going to find her boyfriend. It was a bit too much. Haijin, I'm sorry, I just want to find out from Li Yuan how he writes novels. He is really good. He is a great writer on the Origin Chinese website, which is the #1 online website in China. It's okay. Xia's Haijin smiled and didn't think much about it. She was also very happy when others praised Li Yuan. Shenzhou looked at Xia's Haijin's silly look and felt secretly anxious. In the past, Li Yuan was okay and not so popular, but it is definitely different now. She was very sure that when Li Yuan's identity was exposed, the number of girls who wanted to pursue Li Yuan would increase explosively. Not to mention other dormitories, just their dormitory, if there is a chance, probably every girl would want to have a sweet love with Li Yuan. This includes even herself. That night, because Li Yuan's identity was exposed in the class group, almost all the students in Computer Class 1, both male and female, were discussing this matter. In the dormitory next to Xia's Haijin's dormitory, Wang Zhirong was talking excitedly about Li Yuan with Fang Yani and Zhou Dan. Wang Zhirong took the BBK music phone and put it in front of the bear. Yani, Dandan, I find that I have fallen a little in love with Li Dakeze. I have decided that I will pursue him. True love cannot be missed. Fang Yani said speechlessly, wrong, wake up. Li Yuan already has a partner, and she is a beautiful girl like Xia's Haijin. You have no chance. Wang Zhirong looked at Fang Yani with a smile, not caring what she said at all, but asked, Yani, Do you know that men all have one characteristic in common? What is it? Fangyani shook her head. She had never been in love, so she didn't know where to go. Wang Zhirong made big golden waves, straightened up, and deliberately revealed his career line in front of him, and spoke meaningfully. Let me tell you, men's true nature, as long as it is a man, unless it is TJ, there is no one who is not lewd. Xia's Haijin is indeed very beautiful, but so what? There are some things that men like that she may not be embarrassed to do, or may not be able to do. Besides, if you don't give it a try, how will you know it won't work? Men like excitement. Zhou Dan was also shocked by Wang Zhirong's explosive idea. She said she couldn't understand. Wrong, is that necessary? Although Li Yuan is excellent, the other boys in our Daxia University are not bad either. Why do you want to steal other girls' boyfriends? Xia's Haijin is still our classmate. Fangyani also advised, yes, wrong, wouldn't it be nice to find a boyfriend with your academic qualifications and appearance? Wang Zhirong didn't mind what Zhou Dan said at all, and still insisted on his own ideas. Don't you think that if you can fall in love with a high-quality boy like Li Yuan, you will be unforgettable in your life? Besides, Li Yuan is a talented man with a monthly income of millions. If you want to buy a house and settle in the Magic City in the future, just fall in love with him and make him happy. Everything can come true. Believe it or not, when the news gets out, Li Yuan will definitely become the most popular one, and there will be countless girls chasing him. Xia's Haijin and Li Yuan have just met. They haven't reached that point yet. I still have a chance. As long as I take him down completely, every man will pay special attention to the person he met for the first time. Fangyani and Zhou Dan looked at each other. Although they also felt that what Wang Zhirong said made sense, they still couldn't accept it psychologically. This was beyond their moral imagination. In the male dormitory, Li Yuan was lying on the bed, passing the verification messages one by one. These were all his college classmates. If he didn't pass the QQ friend, he would seem a bit too noble. As soon as he passed the verification, Yan Qiu sent a message. Great talent, I thought you wouldn't add me as a friend. Smile JPG, thank you, it will be fun to have such a great talent like you in the circle of friends. Shy JPG. Li Yuan's impression of the class monitor Xiangqin Yanqiu was okay, mainly because her name was very special, a relatively rare double surname of 4 characters. Moreover, she was able to stand up that day and was the first to give a speech on the stage. She was generous and decent, which also made people feel good. The other party gave him the feeling that she was a very competitive, motivated, and career-oriented girl. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 95. Although it was not his cup of tea, he was the monitor after all, so Li Yuan still replied. The monitor got the award, I was just lucky. After the message was sent, Li Yuan continued to scroll through other messages. After he passed the friend verification, everyone who added him as a friend, both boys and girls, sent various messages. Some are congratulating, some are joking and want to hug their thighs, and some want to learn how to write online articles. Only the big bear girl I met at the class meeting that day sent a more intriguing message. Handsome guy, you made people very sad that day. They obviously admired you, but you treated them like that. I was crying for a long time. Your eyes were swollen. Side profile selfie of upper body. Li Yuan clicked on the picture and took a look. Good guy, this little green tea really didn't show up. It went directly to the welfare. Looking at the snow-white skin and deep career line, coupled with the deliberately pouted profile, Li Yuan had to sigh. Women who have more experience have a better life, can accurately grasp the psychology of men, and put their own. The advantages are highlighted vividly. If this were applied to ordinary boys, I am afraid that just facing this photo, they would have to surrender within a few charges. Haha, the girls in our class are all a bit interesting. Chapter 96 Be good, call me husband, and sign a confidentiality agreement. Writer Lee, I am Gao Xin, Shy JPG, from dormitory 6608, Zhijin's roommate. I admire your talent very much. By the way, I also wrote some romance novels in my spare time. Can a great writer help me, guide me? Hee, great writer, guess who I am? If you guessed it right, I can be your guide for a day. There are many delicious and fun places in Magic City. Brother Yuan, I am Zhang Heidao from the dormitory next to yours. I like Fighting Starry Sky, written by you so much. I am your die-hard fan. Classmates in the class sent various messages, which made Li Yuan very interesting. At this moment, the people he knew around him seemed to have turned into warm and good people in an instant. Li Yuan did not reply to each message. Chatting with more than 10 people at the same time, do you want to sleep now? After Li Yuan saw the messages sent by girls such as Gao Xin, Ji Chen Chen, Li Lanrong, etc., his heart suddenly moved and he sent and received a message. My treasure girl, are you thinking of me? Li Yuan originally thought that Xia Zhijin should have gone to bed, but he didn't expect that Xia Zhijin replied to the message just after sending it. No, you are the big bad guy. The corners of Li Yuan's mouth raised slightly, recalling the scene in the cinema in his mind, and he typed quickly. It's so sad. My girl says I'm a bad guy. I can't sleep tonight because I miss you so much. In the girls' dormitory, Xia Zhijin looked at the message with slightly red cheeks. She secretly glanced at Shenziu beside her. Seeing that she didn't see the message from Li Yuan, she quickly put the phone against her chest, her heart beating wildly. Just now, when several roommates said that about Li Yuan, she was very angry, but also faintly worried. She is just an ordinary girl, but Li Yuan is already outstanding and dazzling to the point where the whole class is crazy about him. Xia Zhijin pursed her lips and quietly sent out messages one by one. Li Yuan, I'm a little scared. Li Yuan responded immediately, Baby Zhijin, what are you afraid of? I have everything. Because of you, I'm a little scared. Am I terrible looking? I think I'm quite good looking. Hee, when we walk together, people treat us as boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't know what to say. Li Yuan had roughly guessed why Xia Zhijin was afraid. After her true identity was exposed, even her 5 roommates secretly added her as friends. And in the girls' dormitory, you can imagine what kind of bloody things will happen. After all, it's just the beginning of school, and it would be foolish to say how deep the relationship between roommates and classmates is. Not only love, but friendship also needs to be cultivated slowly. Li Yuan tapped his fingers quickly, not giving Xia Zhijin a chance to think wildly and giving her a reassurance. My little fool, even if you don't want to say it, I can understand what you are afraid of. Just remember that I will never leave you in this life. I will always protect you, love you, and protect you from wind and rain. That's it. Don't take any other rumors about me to heart. No matter what others say to you or what you see, you must firmly believe that I will always be on your side. Xia Zhijin's eyes were slightly red, and her little hands were trembling slightly. Well, Li Yuan, I believe you. My precious girl, go to bed early. I will pick you up and go to the company with you tomorrow. Well, good night, Li Yuan. Li Yuan chuckled. Zhijin, what do you think you should call me now? Xia Zhijin asked cutely, then, what should I call you? Li Yuan gave a bad smile, shout, my husband. Xia Zhijin's face was bright red, and Shenziu happened to see it. She asked curiously, Zhijin, why is your face so red? After saying that, he reached out to touch Xia Zhijin's face and was burned. Shenziu quickly asked with concern, Zhijin, are you sick? Xia Zhijin's heart was beating fast. She didn't dare to look at Shenziu and just shook her head shyly. Li Yuan just wanted to tease Xia Zhijin. Seeing that she didn't reply for a long time, he was ready to lie down on the bed and sleep. Today was indeed a busy day. It was a thrilling and exciting day. When he was about to fall asleep, his cell phone vibrated slightly. Li Yuan took it out and saw that it was a message from Xia's Haijin. There were only 2 words. Old, husband. At dawn the next day, Li Yuan had already hurriedly got up and washed up. Lu Jie squatted in the bed and saw Li Yuan getting up so early. He asked curiously, "Brother Yuan, why did you get up so early in the morning?" Li Yuan replied indifferently, "I got up early to make money." "You don't think my money is all blown by the wind?" Lu Jie looked like he was pregnant and muttered, "Brother Yuan, you are so outstanding and still working so hard. Are you going to let us live?" Li Yuan glanced at him and said, "It is the biggest waste to spend the most youthful and energetic time simply sleeping. The early bird catches the fish." Lu Jie asked in surprise, "Shouldn't birds eat insects?" Li Yuan threw a sentence, "Haha, think about it yourself." When Li Yuan left, Lu Jie was still muttering to himself, "Birds don't eat insects, but eat fish instead." Li Yuan came to the downstairs of the Zuyuan girls' dormitory and waited for Xia's Haijin. After a while, Xia's Haijin buried her head and appeared in front of Li Yuan, still dressed the same as yesterday. Seeing Li Yuan, Xia's Haijin immediately lowered her head shyly, and her snow-white cheeks were stained with a blush. Li Yuan looked at her expression and joked, "Haijin, call me again." Xia's Haijin was about to ask what he was calling, but when she saw Li Yuan's half-smile, she immediately understood what he was talking about. Her face became even redder, and she lowered her head even lower. She was shy and didn't say anything. Li Yuan smiled and took the initiative to reach out and hold Xia's Haijin's hand. "Let's go have breakfast. Our school's breakfast is still good, but we can't drink the authentic soup in our hometown, and we can't eat the delicious oil-fried sesame cakes." Xia's Haijin was holding Li Yuan's hand and walking on the campus, feeling very sweet at the same time. She was even more shy. This was Li Yuan holding her hand in a public place like school. Listening to Li Yuan's sigh, she whispered, "Li Yuan, what is SA soup?" Li Yuan smacked his lips and was a little greedy. "That is a special delicacy in my hometown. It is a soup made with old hens, and then poured directly into the beaten eggs. It becomes a fragrant and delicious hot soup. Wait for the new year, I will take you back to my hometown, I will take you to try it." When Xia's Haijin heard Li Yuan's words, "I will take you back to my home during the new year," her heart beat fast and a smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. Yet, after breakfast, Li Yuan drove Xia's Haijin and rushed to the company immediately. At this time, it was just about 7:30 in the morning. Li Yuan saw a slightly bald man waiting at the door of the company. He was Li Yuan, senior in computer science at Daxia University, the unlucky guy who had an office romance and then broke up and resigned. Li Yuan still values his top general very much, and he went up to say hello. "Hu Zhenqiang, why are you here so early? I remember that the scheduled time is 8:30 in the morning." Hu Zhenqiang was looking at the internal environment of the company he was about to join through the huge glass, and nodded secretly. The company he was about to join seemed to have just been established, but it was able to take over such a large office building in Longjia Building, and its strength should not be underestimated. Suddenly hearing someone calling his name, Hu Zhenqiang turned around and saw the person who interviewed him yesterday coming over. He immediately smiled and walked up to him. "Mr. Li, I am used to getting up early, and I have nothing to do, so I came a little early." "Getting up early is a good habit," Li Yuan replied with a smile, and then opened the door of the company. "Come in and sit down first. When everyone is here, we will hold a meeting and start working." Hu Zhenqiang nodded, looked at Li Yuan, and suddenly asked curiously, "Mr. Li, may I ask what kind of game our company is going to make?" Li Yuan looked at him suspiciously, subconsciously thinking that he wanted to get company secrets, but suddenly thought that this was impossible. His company had just been established and no one would pay attention to it. The other party should be purely curious. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Renshenkui Ken Ryu Siahua. Chapter 96. I have a rough idea about the game I'm going to make. It will be a great game across the ages. Once it's completed, it will immediately rewrite the global game market, but whether this game can be completed remains to be seen. Judging from your ability level, I definitely can't do it alone. After hearing this, Hu Zhenqiang did not secretly mock Li Yuan's rhetoric. Instead, he suddenly became interested and his eyes sparkled. He is very ambitious. He is not afraid that Li Yuan will not have dreams and ambitions, but he is afraid that Li Yuan will make a small fuss. Wouldn't that mean that there is no place for a hero and his talent is wasted? The reason why he chose the newly established Datang Technology Company was because this company had just been established and might be able to help him realize his great ambition and slap the woman who dumped him in the face hard. Mr. Li, I am even more curious about the game you mentioned. According to what you said, it must be a masterpiece that can change the global game market. I am very excited just thinking about it. Li Yuan glanced at the energetic Hu Zhenqiang. No wonder he was a bit bald at a young age. There was a high probability that he was also the king of scrolls. However, good luck rolling king. At this stage, the more you can roll, the better. Because the game he plans to develop next will require a lot of time to work on. 5 plus 2, white plus black, will be the norm. Time is precious, and every minute and second must be fought for to release this game before that company. Don't worry, wait a little longer, and when everyone is here, you will know what kind of game I am planning to develop. Hey, Mr. Li, I'll wait and see. In the office, Li Yuan handed the USB drive to the computer and opened the folder inside. This was the game development plan he made. File title, Game Development Plan for Honor of Kings. The reason why it is not called League of Legends is to distinguish it from the League of Legends currently being developed by Riot Games. If it were to be released at about the same time, it would be a bit embarrassing. Li Yuan waved to Xia Zhaijin, type out 22 copies of this document, as well as 20 copies of the employment contract, confidentiality agreement, and other documents I formulated. When Xia Zhaijin came to the computer and printer, she was a little at a loss as she didn't know how to use the printer. Li Yuan smiled slightly, pressed against Xia Zhaijin from behind, smelled the virgin fragrance on her body, and took a deep breath. It's okay, give me your hand, and I will teach you personally. Xia Zhaijin nodded shyly, and Li Yuan took his little hand and started operating. At about 10 past 8, all the new recruits had arrived. Because it was their first day at the company, the 20 employees, including Hu Zhenqiang, were extremely excited and serious, hoping to leave a good impression. In the conference room, Li Yuan sat in the middle, and Xia Zhaijin sat upright next to Li Yuan. Hu Zhenqiang, Xie Zheng, Lin Yue and other new employees looked curiously at the young and outrageous boss, as well as Xia Zhaijin, who has a face that is comparable to that of a star. Li Yuan was stared at by 20 pairs of eyes, but he didn't have any stage fright and spoke calmly. First of all, welcome everyone to join Datang Technology Company. This is not only the company's honor, but also your honor, because, in the future, Datang Technology will definitely be world-renowned. And you will also realize it because of working in Datang Technology. The value of life. After Li Yuan finished speaking, Lin Yue took the lead in applauding, and others also applauded in unison. First, drink a bowl of chicken soup, finish the foreplay warm-up, and then start the actual practice of the show. Li Yuan looked at Xia Zhaijin and said with a serious expression, Secretary Xia, distribute the confidentiality agreement to everyone sitting here. This was the first time Xia's Haijin heard Li Yuan call her that. She quickly stood up and handed out the confidentiality agreement prepared in advance to everyone one by one. Because 14 of the company's employees were all men, when they saw Xia's Haijin's divine appearance, almost everyone was stunned for a moment and were shocked by Xia's Haijin's appearance. Hu Zhenqiang looked at the confidentiality agreement drafted by Li Yuan. There were 8 major clauses in it, covering almost all aspects. The core content is that once you sign a confidentiality agreement and join Datang Technology Company, you must abide by the confidentiality agreement and must not disclose company secrets to the outside world in any way. If you leak secrets, you will bear relevant legal liabilities. Li Yuan worked as a coder for a period of time in his previous life and also participated in game development. He deeply understands how important confidentiality is for this kind of network technology company. It can be said to be the top priority. Everyone has experience in research and development in network technology companies. You should be able to understand the importance of signing a confidentiality agreement. If you agree, you can sign it directly, and then you can sign a formal personnel contract with the company. Hu Zhenqiang glanced at the hesitant crowd, picked up the pen, and signed his name. Mr. Li, I've signed it. As soon as Hu Zhenqiang finished speaking, Lin Yue and Xie Zheng signed the agreement almost at the same time. For them, this is not a difficult choice. Li Yuan's salary is very high, and if you are engaged in technology research and development, no matter which technology company you work for, you need to sign a similar agreement. Otherwise, if a company invests millions or even tens of millions in research and development of technological products, and you directly steal them, who can bear the loss? Someone took the lead, and other employees signed confidentiality agreements. Li Yuan nodded with satisfaction and looked at Xia's Haijin. Secretary Xia, please also ask everyone to sign the personnel employment contract. After a while, after everyone signed the employment contract, the atmosphere in the conference room became more relaxed. Signing the contract means that you have officially become a member of Datang Technology. Li Yuan looked at Hu Zhenqiang, Lin Yue, Xie Zheng, and others with expectant eyes, and opened the PPT behind him, which he did during military training. Everyone, you all have the game development plan that was just sent to you. Now, I will use PPT mode to explain to you the origin, model, production, and other contents of this game. As we all know, in our country and even in the world, there are already similar large-scale online multiplayer competitive games, such as the very popular Crossfire. This kind of online multiplayer competitive game it has been enduring for a long time, which is determined by the essential characteristics of human beings' competitiveness. The game our company is going to develop, I named it Honor of Kings, is mainly a large-scale computer game. Different types of heroes will be designed, divided into red and blue sides, and can be played by players. Choose to fight in Summoner's Rift. Different types of heroes have different skills and characteristics, and gamers, called summoners in the game, can choose different types of heroes to fight according to their own hobbies. According to my idea, the battle mode will be temporarily divided into ranked modes, with different levels set to stimulate players' enthusiasm for advancement. In addition to ranked modes, there is also a normal mode to train the use of heroes. Li Yuan started to explain to the PPT. He basically compared the combination of League of Legends and Honor of Kings, and most of the skills in League of Legends were referenced. But the names of the heroes and so on must be based on Honor of Kings, most of which are celebrities from Chinese history and novels. In fact, Goose Factory's King of Glory is a plagiarism of League of Legends, but it just changed the names of the heroes. League of Legends and Glory of Kings, these two games, one PC game and one mobile game, have used time to prove their invincibility. In his previous life, Li Yuan had naturally played the game, especially during the pesticide fires. Almost everyone among the young people played it. The sales volume of one skin in one day reached hundreds of millions of yuan. It was simply too terrifying and made the Chinese people truly realize the game. What a money attracting! As long as it can be successfully developed, even if it is only domestically, it will represent a market worth tens of billions, and there will be no problem in maintaining its popularity for more than 10 years. It can be said that this is the king of games that will lay golden eggs for a long time. It's only September 2008, and League of Legends developed by Riot Games is still more than a year away from being launched, and it's still 2 to 3 years away from landing in mainland China. With his guidance, the Beijing game development team can avoid a lot of detours. As long as there are sufficient funds and personnel support, the game production can be completed quickly. It was not without consideration that Li Yuan first made some small games and browser games, such as Plants vs. Zombies, Temple Escape, Dunton Hall and other small games to quickly make money in a short period of time, but after careful consideration, I don't think that makes much sense. At this stage, he is not short of money. He has nearly 20 million in cash, millions in monthly royalties, and 6 fully purchased houses, which are enough to support the completion of the development of this large-scale game. Now is a favorable time to seize the huge market cake of League of Legends first. If we miss this huge market for other reasons, it will be too late to cry. After listening to Li Yuan's introduction, Hu Zhenqiang, Lin Yue, Xie Zheng, and others all looked shocked by Li Yuan's genius ideas and courage. If according to Li Yuan's vision, as soon as this game is released, it will definitely become popular all over the country. It will represent countless wealth and a milestone in the history of the game. All of them, including them, will be famous. Leave a lasting legacy. Hu Zhenqiang stood up excitedly, looked at Li Yuan, suddenly bowed deeply, and spoke with a fervent expression. Mr. Li, thank you for giving me this opportunity to participate in the production of this vast masterpiece. From today on, I will sell my life to you, to Datang Technology. Hu Zhenqiang's sudden statement surprised Li Yuan slightly, and what caught him even more off guard was that after Hu Zhenqiang, new employees such as Lin Yue, Xie Zheng, Zhou Chunsheng, and Zhang Chaiyu also expressed their opinions one after another. Everyone here has experience in the gaming and internet industries. They all have high academic qualifications and naturally have a broad vision. Naturally, we can understand the huge value of Li Yuan's plan to develop this honor of kings. Lin Yue also stood up and said excitedly, Mr. Li, we can't wait for your order to start working immediately. Xie Zheng was more rational. He looked at Li Yuan and asked a question, Mr. Li, the development idea of this game is undoubtedly very good, but the cycle may be relatively long. With our team, it may also take a long time. In terms of funding, strong guarantees are needed. Other employees also showed worried looks. If it were other large companies, they might not have this worry, but after all, Datang Technology is just a newly established network technology company, and its financial resources are a question. Li Yuan smiled and reassured the employees present, you don't have to worry about the funding issue. Since the company dares to try to develop this game, it will naturally have sufficient funding. Hu Zhenqiang smiled and echoed, since Mr. Li has spoken, we don't have to worry. We just need to complete the goal under the leadership of Mr. Li. I am personally very optimistic about this project. As long as Mr. Li is willing to take care of my food and accommodation, even if he does not pay wages, I will work hard to make this game good. If not for anything else, just because of this game, it must be epoch-making. A masterpiece. Li Yuan laughed off Hu Zhenqiang's expression of loyalty. Hu Zhenqiang was alone and didn't even have a girlfriend. He could only keep company with the fifth girl. He had a dream, but it didn't mean that others didn't need firewood, rice, oil, salt, sauce, vinegar, tea. Li Yuan looked at the other employees and said calmly, Li Yuan, keep my word. After the probation period, Each of you will receive a minimum monthly guaranteed salary, plus performance commissions, which will definitely not be less than a dime. In addition, depending on the progress of game development and other work, overtime pay, work incentives, etc. there will be some too. Although Datang Technology is just a startup, I believe that everything that should be there will be there. Now, let's go full throttle and give it a try. Chapter 97 Game Development, The Treasure Girl Who Was Tricked. In the company conference room, Li Yuan was holding a game development work deployment meeting. Xia Haijin, as Li Yuan's administrative secretary, was next to Li Yuan taking minutes of the meeting. Li Yuan established 3 working groups based on the strengths and abilities of each person introduced by the new employees, with Hu Zhenqiang, Lin Yue and Xie Zheng as team leaders of the Baiyujing studio respectively. Team Leader Hu, you have the most important task. You have to complete various tasks such as game platform construction, software development and Summoner's Rift construction. The task is very heavy. You have experience in large-scale web game development, so this heavy task will be left to you. I hope you can lead your team members to come up with a step list for each keynote in game development within today, and list the possible problems that need to be solved, and the methods to solve the problems. Do you have the confidence to complete it? Hu Zhenqiang's eyes flashed, he looked at Li Yuan, and nodded solemnly, Mr. Li, I have only one sentence, go all out and ensure that the task is completed. Li Yuan replied with satisfaction, what I want is your words. Li Yuan looked at Lin Yue again and assigned her a task, Team Leader Lin, your task is also very heavy. You are mainly responsible for the modeling of heroes and other tasks. In the first issue, I selected 30 heroes, all of whom are familiar figures in Chinese history, such as Monkey King, the Monkey King, Li Bai, the Green Lotus Sword Immortal, Zhuge Liang, the Strategist, Han Xian, Xiang Yu, Wang Zhejian, Yang Yahuan, descendants and so on. We Chinese people are all familiar with these historical and mythological figures. In addition, after a while, I will write a medium-length novel for this background story based on the characteristics of the game to attract traffic. According to the design of Summoner's Canyon, it is divided into upper, middle, and lower lanes and the wild area, including 5 types of heroes such as mages, assassins, warriors, shooters, and supports. My requirements for all types of heroes are that female heroes should be as beautiful as possible, the more exaggerated the better. Male heroes should be handsome, the more handsome the better, especially assassins and warriors, and they should be made based on the historical characteristics of the characters. For example, Monkey King, the great sage of Monkey King, uses the Ruyi golden stick as his weapon. The characteristic of his skills is that he uses the stick, which can be combined with somersault clouds to create displacement skills. Zhuge Liang can be regarded as the representative of the mage, and most of the female heroes can be mage. Lin Yue also nodded solemnly. Although her task was not as onerous as Hu Zhenqiang's, there were also few people in her group. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 97. Mr. Li, we will definitely complete the progress as required. Li Yuan nodded and looked at Xie Zheng again. Xie Zheng is also a top student who graduated from Aurora University in Shanghai. He has rich experience and strong skills. His guaranteed salary has reached 12,000. If he adds a performance bonus equivalent to at least half a year's salary, he is not much worse than the top software engineers in those big companies. Team Leader Xie, you are responsible for the development and technical support of hero skills, various inscriptions, combat actions, skill effects, game operation, etc. The task is also very heavy. Xie Zheng was a little taciturn, but nodded solemnly, I understand. Li Yuan said lightly, okay, let's start like this, Team Leader Lin stay. Lin Yue was a little surprised, glanced at Li Yuan, and asked directly, Mr. Li, is there anything else? Team Leader Lin, This time I have to give you some more burdens. I want to build a forum website. I have already registered the name and domain name. It is called ghu.com, it is mainly for young college students. As for the main content of the website, it is mainly to record my life and surrounding news hotspots. The name is Wet Topics. There is also a confession wall for college friends, and a community dedicated to talking about basketball and football, etc. Li Yuan roughly talked about the way to build a forum website in his mind. In his previous life, he often played forums, boasted in forums, read various posts, etc., which was quite interesting. This method is the most effective way to attract traffic, and traffic, to some extent, is money. There are too many ways to monetize traffic. I have previously made a rough content plan for the Zhi website, which has more than 10 main contents. Now the focus is on the 4 major items of confession wall, wet topics, basketball community, and football community. After listening, Lin Yue quickly understood what Li Yuan meant. There are many forum websites now, but how to promote and attract people to register and use them is the biggest problem. Lin Yue glanced at Li Yuan and agreed very readily. Since the boss has a need, just let it go. For her, building such a website is not difficult at all. Even if she is left to do it alone, she can almost build a rough framework within a week. Mr. Li, don't worry, I will finish it as soon as possible. In the rush of busyness, meetings, employees introduce themselves, familiarize themselves with office equipment, and explain various details and key points. In the blink of an eye, it is almost noon. In the office, Li Yuan was relaxed. He breathed a sigh of relief when he saw the new employees working hard at their respective workstations outside. All things are difficult at the beginning. There will always be various difficulties on the road to success. This will be the norm in the future. Moreover, the development of Honor of Kings is not a one-day job. He only needs to check the progress every week and solve some problems encountered in the development process. According to his estimate, if he can build a preliminary framework within 3 months and conduct internal testing within 6 months, it will be considered a success. The rest of the time, the focus is still on website construction, and subsequent promotion and drainage, creating gimmicks, attracting college students to register, etc. For example, the 4 main functions of Zhihu, basketball community and football community, are topics that college boys pay more attention to, especially basketball. Because Dao is still playing in the NBA, it has always been very popular, and it can be used for drainage in the future. The confession wall is prepared for college girls. Girls are more concerned about emotional and love issues. This is also a way to attract female fans. As for the wet topics, they are all kinds of strange hot topics. You can just make up your story as long as it is interesting enough and has gimmicks. Li Yuan kept writing down his thoughts on the office computer. Next door, Xia's Haijin was secretly tidying up the meeting room, occasionally looking in the direction of Li Yuan, and was in a daze. I can't help him at all. Xia's Haijin was a little disappointed. When she really entered this environment, she found that she knew nothing about many things. The knowledge that Li Yuan taught her, in this environment full of computer experts, was not even enough for the most basic beginners. She was completely a beginner. And Li Yuan didn't say a word to her all morning, except for asking her to send and receive materials a few times at the beginning of the meeting. Instead, he talked enthusiastically with other employees. They had common topics, talking about how to develop games and build websites. And she herself was like a transparent passerby, with no place to use her skills, and could only quietly tidy up the office. Just when Xia's Haijin's little head was thinking about it, Li Yuan came to the meeting room and shouted seriously, "Secretary Xia, come to my office." It was the first time that Xia's Haijin saw Li Yuan talking to her in this tone. Her body trembled suddenly, and she said in fear, "Oh, I'm here." Looking at Xia's Haijin's appearance, Li Yuan almost couldn't help laughing. He coughed, drank a sip of water, and waved his hand. "Come here, sit opposite me." Xia's Haijin sat obediently in front of Li Yuan, across a desk, buried her head, pinching the corner of her clothes. Li Yuan pushed the contract that he had prepared long ago in front of Xia's Haijin and said expressionlessly, "This is your contract, sign it." Xia's Haijin took the contract from Li Yuan blankly, and was a little at a loss for a moment. Li Yuan's expression was very serious. "Why, don't you want to sign?" Xia's Haijin looked at Li Yuan's serious eyes, and then glanced at the formal contract with the red seal. For some reason, she suddenly felt extremely lost, as if there was a big stone pressing on her heart, and tears kept rolling in her eyes. Xia's Haijin is not sure what the relationship between her and Li Yuan is now. He has treated her like that. But if they are in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, why sign a contract? Does he just treat me as his employee? Xia's Haijin's eyes were slightly red, and she quietly raised her head, looked deeply at Li Yuan with a serious expression, and then quickly lowered her head. With trembling hands, she picked up the pen and signed her name without even reading the contents of the contract carefully. Xia's Haijin held back her tears and pushed the signed contract in front of Li Yuan, her voice very low. "Li, Mr. Li, sign it." Li Yuan didn't seem to notice the change in Xia's Haijin's address to him, and said calmly, "Secretary Xia, put another handprint on your name." Xia's Haijin's eyes were red, and tears could be vaguely seen in her eyes, as if they would burst out in the next second. She stretched out her soft, snow-white little hand, pressed the mimeograph, and pressed her handprint on her signature. She trembled and said, "Li, Mr. Li, here you go." Li Yuan pretended not to see Xia's Haijin's aggrieved look, took the contract signed by Xia's Haijin, turned to the middle, looked at the several clauses he deliberately added, and couldn't help but smile. "Well, not bad, Secretary Xia, I also signed this special contract." Li Yuan also signed and pressed a handprint next to Xia's Haijin's name. He, it's settled." Li Yuan gently stood up, left the boss chair, stretched his body, stretched his muscles, and came to Xia's Haijin, whose eyes were red. Seeing her tearful appearance, he bent down and kissed her smooth forehead. Under Xia's Haijin's panicked eyes, Li Yuan laughed. "Xia's Haijin, sign this contract and press your fingerprints, and you will be mine for life. From now on, I am the boss of the company, and you are the boss's wife of the company, responsible for managing the company's finances. By the way, Haijin baby, the contract you just signed is for a lifetime. In this life, you can't escape from my palm." Xia's Haijin was suddenly attacked by Li Yuan. Before she could react, she heard Li Yuan's triumphant laughter, as if the conspiracy had succeeded. Xia's Haijin couldn't hold back any longer, and tears fell to the ground in strings. Seeing that she was really crying, Li Yuan stepped forward and hugged her directly in his arms. Xia's Haijin's little head was even more confused. She didn't expect Li Yuan to be so bold that he dared to hug her directly in front of everyone in the office. Xia's Haijin lowered her head shyly, and her voice was so soft that it was inaudible. "Let go, let me go." Li Yuan didn't listen at all, and directly used a little more force to push her into his arms again. "Students Haijin, you have signed a contract with me. We are now in an open and above-board relationship. What can others do if they see it?" Xia's Haijin's tears flowed down, and she was hugged by Li Yuan. The worries, grievances, and fears in her heart disappeared instantly. Li Yuan, I'm so scared, afraid that all this is a dream, and there will be nothing when I wake up. Seeing that you are so busy, I can't help you with anything." Li Yuan touched Xia's Haijin's little head, "This girl who is weak on the outside but very strong on the inside. Little fool, don't think too much. You can stay by my side, which is the greatest help. Besides, you are just a freshman, no, You haven't started formal classes yet, how can you help me? You are already great. If you really want to help me, then help me manage the company's finances. I am worried about giving the financial power to others. Xiaozhaijin trembled and asked hesitantly, but I don't understand finance. Li Yuan smiled and said, it's very simple. Finance is mainly about income and expenditure. The company doesn't have much income now. You only need to be responsible for the expenses, pay them wages, buy some office supplies, or buy some milk tea, lunch, etc. It's almost noon now. You can go to the mall downstairs and order lunch for everyone. Today is the first day of work. Let's get together at noon. We can have hot pot, barbecue buffet, etc. Hey, Zhaijin, you have a lot of work to do. I will rely on you in the future. Don't think you are useless and can't help me. Got it? Yes. Yazhaijin raised her head and answered in a very serious tone, Li Yuan, I will work hard. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Li Yuan touched her hair and let go reluctantly. Someone came in. I will teach you how to manage and use the company's account later. Xiaozhaijin lowered her head shyly, then I'll go order food first. As soon as Hu Zhenqiang came in, he saw Xiaozhaijin trotting out with his head down, smiling secretly. They could naturally see that Li Yuan and Secretary Xia had a very unusual relationship. Hu Zhenqiang looked at Li Yuan. He still admired Li Yuan very much. Although he was young, his understanding and planning of games were very far-sighted. Especially the first major project of the Baiyujing studio was to produce a large-scale terminal game, which showed Li Yuan's extraordinary ambition. Hu Zhenqiang handed the document in his hand to Li Yuan. Mr. Li, I have something to report to you. This is the work plan I have listed based on the main nodes in the game development process. Please take a look. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 98. Chapter 98. Baiyu Eguang regretted it and now wants to pursue her? Please subscribe. When Li Yuan stayed in the company for most of the day, he concentrated on handling game development, website construction, and other entrepreneurial matters. Daxia University, which is less than 2 kilometers away from Longjia Building, the dormitories, post bars, canteens, and other places quickly became lively because of a piece of news. There were voices everywhere talking about Battle of the Stars and great writers. Did you hear that breaking news? The author of the current best-selling fantasy novel Battle of the Stars on the internet is actually a freshman at our Daxia University. MMP is so awesome. I also saw it from the school's forum. It seems that the news that was exposed in a certain professional class group has been confirmed. Gee, a freshman, a great internet writer, and a monthly income of millions, I always feel like it's a dream, this is so humming unreal. Other people's 18-year-olds are already earning millions a month, and their works are popular across the country. You're 18-year-olds and I can only stay in the university dormitory and stay up all night playing games. The gap is so huge that it is staggering. If you earn $1 million a month, you can spend it all in a lifetime. This is something that cannot be done indiscriminately on a university campus. I only have a measly 600 yuan a month for living expenses. My grandma has little legs. His monthly income is more than my 100-year living expenses. I'm a little curious, is it really that profitable to write online articles? I have also read the novel Fighting in the Starry Sky. Although the story is very interesting, the writing style is very rubbish and has no literary value at all. It is a pure white novel. What if it were me who wrote it? My writing skills would definitely be better than his, and I could do it if I could make $1 million a month. Haha, then go and write it yourself. You can spend a long time writing a short essay of 800 words. Do you really have enough brain capacity to write a novel of several million words? Who are you looking down on? I majored in liberal arts in high school and got over 640 points in the college entrance examination. I also majored in Chinese. How can I write a few online articles without holding them in hand? I'm going to start writing now. It's just an online novel, full of all kinds of meaning and pronunciation. The plot is so awesome that it can't even be considered online literature, and it's not published physically. Just watch me kill everyone and become popular all over the country. Don't tell me. To be honest, I was really moved when I heard about his income. Not only can I earn millions a month, but with my writing skills, I have published articles on Readers and Friends. Writing online articles and earning a monthly income of 100,000 or 200,000 should not be a big problem. Online articles are all just the usual low status and cheating and pretending to be slapped in the face and upgrading the plot. I'm really good at it. I also read this novel this morning. It's a classic cool novel, and the emotional pull is pretty good. If I were to write it, it wouldn't be a big problem to write a book of this level. The entire Daxia campus and the dormitories of male and female students are full of voices talking about Battle of the Stars. If they were students from other universities, they might just talk about it and laugh it off. But this young writer who earns millions a month is a graduate of his own university, so that's different. There are envious people, jealous people, and there are also many people who think I can do whatever I want. In Miwan, a -1,314 girls dormitory, several girls were also discussing this topic. Wang Lisa was scrolling through Daxia University's forum, and the top hot post was about Li Yuan, the amazing writer who makes millions a month and wrote Fighting Starry Sky is actually a freshman in our school. This post explains in detail the ins and outs of the matter and the verification situation, but some specific names, avatars, etc. are mosaicked. The number of hot replies under this post has reached thousands of pages. Wang Lishasha exclaimed, "Sisters, look, there is shocking news. Our school has a literary genius. He is a freshman and earns 1 million a month." Denmiki looked over and looked in disbelief. When I just went to the cafeteria for lunch, I heard someone talking about this topic. I thought someone was making a joke, but it turned out to be true. Ding Shanshan also came over, looked at the post, and asked curiously, "Who is this freshman? Which major? He is so awesome. With a monthly income of 1 million, I don't dare to have such a sweet dream when I go to bed at night. Is he writing online novels? I often read urban romance novels. However, can the income from writing novels really be that high? Earning 1 million a month is a bit too much. Can you make money by writing novels? Aren't novels free to read? I never spend money to read novels. There should be paid websites, but most of us watch pirated copies. Strictly speaking, we have not infringed on the author's rights. Sister Shasha, look who this person is. I really want to know which major he is a student in. Hee, go watch during class. It will be very lively." Several roommates were talking curiously, while Wang Lisa was scrolling through the posts, and she soon discovered some key information. Wang Lisa said in shock, "I found it. The QQ name of the exposed author is. It seems that he is a freshman majoring in computer science this year." Ding Shanshan asked in confusion, "Does this computer science major write online novels? He writes so well. How did he do it? Who knows, I thought it was from the Chinese department, Chinese language and literature, etc." Bai Wuxi, who was chatting with Wang Yuchen on QQ, was startled when he heard "life is like a summer flower" and "computer major," and that familiar figure immediately appeared in his mind. Bai Wuxi was more familiar with Li Yuan's QQ username than anyone else. Her first love was as bright as a summer flower. This was an unforgettable memory in her life. Bai Wuxi murmured in shock, "Could it really be him? QQ username, freshman, computer major, all matched, that must be him." At this moment, Her face was full of wonderful expressions, with regret, happiness, and a hint of sadness. Last night, after Zhong Tingyu asked that question, she thought about it for a long time, and almost decided in her heart to let go of this immature relationship and devote herself to studying. But today, hearing about Li Yuan again was like a bolt from the blue, washing away all her thoughts from last night. Bai Wuxi suddenly thought of something. After the college entrance examination, after her confession was rejected, she heard Wang Yuchen, Suji, and others occasionally mention that Li Yuan spent all his time surfing the internet in internet cafes, except for playing ball for 1 or 2 hours every evening at the sports committee square. At that time, she thought that Li Yuan was just sad because he was rejected by her, and he was playing online games. Now it seems that it is probably not the case. He must have been very sad at that time, so he put his mind on writing online novels. Bai Wuxi's eyes kept flashing with memories. Some things she had forgotten before were sorted out in detail. Before, I asked Li Yuan about his family situation indirectly, and he always hesitated and didn't want to say more, only saying that his parents were doing business in other places. I also found some clues at the time, but I didn't think about it carefully. Now it seems that maybe my guess was not wrong. His family situation may be good, but it is definitely not as good as it appears. Bai Wuxi was in a complicated mood, and she was very happy. Thinking of Li Yuan's attitude towards him later, from the sarcasm when he was rejected at the beginning, to the risk of failing the college entrance examination and applying for 985 Daxia University. Maybe at that time, he already had a monthly income of 1 million, so he didn't care whether he could get into college or not. Now that he has money, he doesn't care about me anymore, so he treats me like that. If he changes his mind so easily, why did he flirt with me and force his way into my heart? Bai Wuxi listened to his roommate's cheering conversation, and suddenly felt very irritated, and walked out directly with his phone. What happened to Wuxi? She doesn't look happy. Maybe it's because of her childhood sweetheart. Forget it. Who can tell about love? The process of falling in love can be sweet, but the result is often full of scars. Keep eating melons. I must eat this melon thoroughly today to see who this boy is. I also want to see who he is. He earns 1 million a month. I'm so envious. He is financially free. I want to learn to write novels from him. Bai Wuxi came to the floor beat of Miwen alone. She opened the QQ high school class group on her mobile phone and found Li Yuan's avatar. It was still the same username, but the number of likes increased by at 999 today. Seeing this, Bai Wuxi felt a great sense of urgency in her heart. She felt that something very important to her was about to disappear from her side and be snatched away by other girls. Is he so popular now? At this time, she knew in her heart that if she didn't take the initiative, Li Yuan would completely disappear from her side and no longer belong to her alone. Bai Wuxi's eyes gradually became firm, and he made up his mind. He dialed a phone call. As soon as the call was connected, Wang Yuchen's voice came over. Hello, Xiaobai, I was just about to call you. I want to tell you that I just saw a hot news that happened in your school. I feel that the great writer who is spreading wildly on the internet has a familiar feeling, and is somewhat similar to Li Zianan. Bai Wuxi was silent in his heart. Even Yuchen in other schools has known about it. Wang Yuchen saw that Bai Wuxi had been silent, and suddenly realized that something was wrong, and quickly apologized. Xiaobai, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have mentioned Li Zianan in front of you, but I just feel a little like him. That's him, Bai Wuxi answered quietly. After Wang Yuchen got Bai Wuxi's confirmation, he was very excited. It's really Li Yuan, my God, how did he do it? When did he start writing novels? He's so amazing. It is said that he can earn 1 million a month. With a monthly income, he can buy a house in Shanghai with full payment, settle down in Shanghai, be financially free, and enjoy life. If anyone wants to be his girlfriend, As Wang Yuchen was talking, he suddenly realized that something was wrong. Wasn't the person he was talking to the ex-girlfriend who had rejected Li Yuan many times? Wang Yuchen stuck out her tongue and apologized quickly. I'm sorry, Xiaobai, don't take it personally. There are many boys in this world who are better than Li the scumbag. Bai Wuxi suddenly asked, Yuchen, can you do me a favor? Wang Yuchen agreed very readily, we are good sisters, why should we be polite? Bai Wuxi thought about it and looked a little embarrassed. I want you to talk to Su Ji and ask him to invite Li Yuan and Wang Shui, our high school classmates in Shanghai, to get together, but don't tell Li Yuan that I will go too. Wang Yuchen asked blankly, Xiaobai, do you want to? Bai Wuxi nodded and said with a firm look, I thought about it all night last night, and I still can't let him go. I just want to ask him in person, is our 3-year relationship over? Wang Yuchen understood what Bai Wuxi meant when she heard it. She also felt that there seemed to be some misunderstanding between Bai Wuxi and Li Yuan. The two people who were originally in love with each other should easily get together. Xiaobai, let me talk to Su Ji. I haven't paid attention to him for 2 days. He runs to my dormitory every day to wait for me, buys me breakfast and milk tea. It's so annoying. I wanted to test him for a few more days, but for your happiness, Xiaobai, I will be wronged. Wang Yuchen said it indifferently, but Bai Wuxi was envious. This was also the treatment she had received before. But now, she lost it herself. Thinking of her own experience, Bai Wuxi sincerely advised, Yuchen, Su Ji is still very good, he is also very good to you, some small conflicts, don't take it to heart. Don't be like me, wait until you lose him, then regret it. Wang Yuchen replied proudly, Xiaobai, I know, I just give him some tests. If he can't persist in this, how can I know how much he loves me? Bai Wuxi felt a little disappointed, it's good that you understand, I don't want you to repeat my mistakes. Wang Yuchen saw that her best friend who had always been as proud as a swan suddenly became like this, and she felt bad. Xiaobai, you can't be blamed for this. Love is mutual. Li Yuan is very good now, but you are not bad either. With your education, face, and figure, there must be a lot of boys chasing you in your school. Hee, Xiaobai, tell me, are there any boys in your school who send you love letters, flowers, and confess to you? Bai Wuxi smiled and nodded, well, there are indeed a few boys who want to chase me, but I rejected them all. If there is really no possibility for Li Yuan and I, then I will not fall in love in college, prepare to study hard, find a good job in the future, stay in Shanghai, and marry someone casually. Wang Yuchen felt speechless after hearing this. Xiaobai, this is unnecessary. There is no need to waste your wonderful college time just because of Li the scumbag. Bai Wuxi shook his head, as if he was self-deprecating, but also as if he was regretful. Yuchen, you don't understand. After meeting a boy like Li Yuan, when you look at other boys, you will always subconsciously compare them with Li Yuan. Wang Yuchen had an expression of sudden enlightenment, and joked, hee, I understand, Xiaobai, you haven't met a boy better than Li Yuan. If you really meet that kind of boy, it will definitely be different. Bai Wuxi smiled and did not deny, maybe, who knows. Chapter 99 Want excitement? Then have an office romance. In the company's office, Li Yuan sat in the boss chair and was hand in hand teaching Xia's Haijin how to use online banking and company financial accounts. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 99. Li Yuan taught seriously, Zhaijin, as the boss's wife, you must first learn to use online banking and use company accounts. Xia's Haijin didn't quite understand. She had only been using computers for more than half a month, let alone online banking and accounts. She said softly, "Then, what should I do?" Li Yuan grabbed Xia's Haijin's hand and moved the mouse. "You first enter the password for the company's financial account." Xia's Haijin was hugged from behind by Li Yuan, her face turned red with embarrassment, and she said cutely, "But, I don't know the password." Li Yuan kissed her ear, which made Xia's Haijin's body suddenly shake in fright, and her snow-white neck immediately turned red with embarrassment. Li Yuan chuckled, "Zhaijin, you must know this password. A warm reminder for you, this password is my girlfriend's birthday." Hearing this, Xia's Haijin glanced at Li Yuan secretly, feeling very sweet in her heart. Facing Li Yuan's half-smiling gaze, she lowered her head shyly, "Is the password my birthday?" Li Yuan asked, "Then you admit that you are my girlfriend?" Xia's Haijin shook her head shyly and said hesitantly, I don't know." Li Yuan pinched Xia's Haijin's cheek, held her chin, and stared at her seriously, "So, you don't want to be my girlfriend? Or do you mean you don't like me?" Xia's Haijin quickly explained, No, it's just." Li Yuan smiled at the corner of his eyes, "Just what? Is there anything else we can't say between us?" Xia's Haijin hesitated, looking a little hesitant, and said in a low voice, I'm a little afraid that my uncle and aunt will dislike me." Li Yuan was startled after hearing this. This silly and naive treasure girl had already considered such a long-term plan? The relationship hasn't been fully established yet. Is she already thinking about meeting her parents in the future? Suddenly, Li Yuan thought that for a simple and shy girl like Xia's Haijin, if you hold hands, it's a promise, if you kiss, it's a lifetime commitment. Once you fall in love, it lasts a lifetime. From school uniforms to wedding dresses, she may have never thought of other possibilities. Thinking of this, Li Yuan suddenly felt a little heartbroken. He once had such simple thoughts. However, after experiencing many severe beatings in reality, I realized that that is the kind of romantic love that only a very few people can have. From school uniforms to wedding dresses, some people don't know how many beds have been shaken, but in the end they have no choice but to compromise, and walk into the tomb of marriage with a stranger whom they may have only known for a few days, with different widows living in their hearts. Strange bedfellows, nothing more than that. Glancing at the worried and shy treasure girl, Li Yuan found it very interesting. He pinched Xia's Haijin's little face and explained with a smile. "Haijin, my parents are very talkative. If they knew that I could find a beautiful, gentle, smart, and cute little wife like you, they would be so happy. My parents are not in Magic City now. They have returned to their hometown. It may take a few months before they come back. When they come back, I will take you to meet them. 3 days ago, a relative in the family passed away, and my parents went home together. By the way, they were preparing to knock down and rebuild another old house in the family. In his hometown, his family has 2 houses, both next to the provincial road. It just so happens that the management of rural homesteads is very loose now. You can spend tens of thousands of yuan at will, give a gift, and build it wherever you want. No one cares or asks. Even if you build a luxury villa with thousands of square meters, it's no problem. Just spend money to buy some land from your neighbors, as long as you are rich enough. At this time, land in rural areas, especially in economically backward areas, was worthless. Wealth that does not return to its hometown is like walking in brocade at night. The thing that best reflects one's status is the house, especially the house in one's hometown. In his previous life, he had seen too many situations like this. Even though some people might not be able to come back even once a year, they still wanted to build the house in their hometown magnificently, like a large palace. All they wanted was face. We people in the Huihei area are all about face. We have developed this good habit since the first generation of entrepreneur Lu Bang. After thousands of years, we still have the same original intention. During Li Yuan's military training, he had already found someone to design a large palace-shaped villa, with the main focus being a layout. When Xia's Haijin heard that Li Yuan was going to take her to meet her parents, she immediately became extremely shy, her face flushed like a tempting red apple. Li Yuan liked seeing Xia's Haijin's shy look. He rubbed her head and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. Haijin, try it quickly. By the way, remind me again, it's the 6 people after your birthday. Xia's Haijin shyly entered the password with the last 6 digits of her birthday, and sure enough it was prompted that the password was correct. Xia's Haijin looked up at Li Yuan, with a special look in her eyes, and asked shyly, Li Yuan, how do you know my birthday? Li Yuan chuckled. This was still difficult for him. Did this little fool forget to give her his ID card when he applied for a mobile phone card? Xia's Haijin's birthday is about a month younger than his. According to normal years, it usually falls around the Lunar New Year. Because we are in tune with each other. Li Yuan met Xia's Haijin's clear eyes and charming face and kissed her directly. Li Yuan, don't touch my tui. When picking up don't talk and be obedient. Li Yuan, you are a bad guy, please, don't touch there, this is the office, I'm afraid. It's okay. I locked the office door. No one can disturb us. Don't be here, Li Yuan, please, if you do this again, I will be really angry. Baby's Haijin, what did you eat when you were growing up? You have a great figure. Woo, Li Yuan, you will bully me. Don't bite my mouth. You're biting in the wrong place. Go a little further down. Just as the sounds in the office were getting quieter and Xia's Haijin's face was getting redder and redder, suddenly, the cell phone ringtone on the desktop rang at an inappropriate time. Xia's Haijin felt relieved, as if grasping a life-saving straw. Li Yuan, there is a phone number. Li Yuan didn't mind at all and continued to use his unique skills with his hands and mouth. Don't worry about it, let it ring. Xia's Haijin broke away for a moment, but before she could finish speaking, Li Yuan's soft and delicious mouth was sealed again. But, what if there is really something important? No matter how important it is, you are still important. Oh, Li Yuan, please, don't do this. Who is so annoying? I've beaten him 7 or 8 times, Li Yuan muttered, and finally let go of Xia's Haijin. Xia's Haijin broke away from Li Yuan's claws with a flushed face, hurriedly hid aside, arranged her clothes, buttoned her clothes, her face was as red as blood, and she hid in the corner and trembled all over. In front of the big bad wolf Li Yuan, she was like a little sheep left to be slaughtered. She was unable to resist the invasion of the big bad wolf, and the defense line she had established was quickly broken through step by step. When it comes to dating, she is as simple as a blank piece of paper. How can she be the opponent of a seasoned veteran like Li Yuan? Li Yuan glanced at the shy and trembling Xia's Haijin, licked his mouth with unfulfilled interest, smelled the special fragrance on his hands, and glanced at Xia's Haijin, who was hiding aside like a kitten, with a bright smile on his lips. This kind of life is really enjoyable. No wonder, many young men and women want to have an office romance. This makes sense and is really exciting. Picking up the phone that had been ringing for 3 or 4 minutes, Li Yuan took a closer look and saw that it was Su Ji calling. Li Yuan was shocked and had a bad feeling. Could something have happened to Su Ji? Otherwise, if there was no special emergency, he would not be able to call himself 7 or 8 times in a row. Since she was not his girlfriend, there would be a series of fatal calls. Li Yuan was about to call back when Su Ji's call came in again. Li Yuan quickly answered the call and asked anxiously, Daji, what's wrong with you? What happened? Brother Yuan, what can happen to me? Su Ji's tone was a little strange. What were you doing just now? Why didn't you answer the phone? Nothing happened, why are you calling me like crazy? I'm frightening my boss, Li Yuan said angrily. It was Su Ji who disturbed his good deeds. I'm just doing business. If you have anything to say, say it quickly. If you have anything to say, hurry up. Su Ji listened to Li Yuan's tone and chuckled, Brother Yuan, are you doing something bad? Li Yuan was speechless. You really guessed it right. He thought to himself, if you hadn't been on the phone all the time, I would have measured Xia's Haijin's whole body with your hands today. This innocent treasure girl didn't know how to resist. In front of him, she was as pure as a white lotus. Stop nagging, tell me, what's the point of calling me? It seems that I guessed it right. That's okay. A great writer, he found a new love so quickly. If Mr. Bai finds out, he won't cry for 3 days and 3 nights. Su Ji teased teasingly. He just asked casually, but he didn't expect that he might actually guess it right. However, if you think about it, Li Yuan needs to be tall and good looking. Now that he has become famous at a young age and earns millions a month, he cannot find any kind of girl. After knowing his true identity, the girls from Daxia University would probably rush towards him like moths towards a flame. It's just that it's a pity for Xiaobai. If you refuse once, you may miss it for the rest of your life. Li Yuan was stunned and asked in surprise, you know everything. Su Ji grinned, let me tell you, Brother Yuan, you don't think that I live in the last century, and I can also surf the internet, right? Besides, how famous is Battle of the Stars now? It has already spread on the internet, and is being reposted and discussed in various forums. It has already left the circle, a monthly income of 1 million, a freshman, Daxia University, grows like a summer flower. Don't tell me that this person is not you. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 100. Tisk tisk, Brother Yuan, you really hit it very well. If I hadn't heard someone mention it by chance, I wouldn't have known when you gave up martial arts and turned to literature to become a great writer. I remember now. No wonder you went to the internet cafe every day after graduating from the college entrance examination. It seems that after being rejected by Biwaxi, you turned your grief into strength and directly started cheating. Su Ji spoke incessantly, looking very excited. Many things can be explained in an instant. He didn't expect that Li Yuan, a strange flower, would appear in an ordinary class. A monthly income of 1 million, this is more than 1 million, and it will definitely be higher in the future. This is the first generation of rich people who really made their own fortunes from scratch, relying purely on their own talents to make a living, so he was even more surprised, and it was also the essential reason for the crazy spread on the internet. A monthly income of 1 million, a freshman, a 985 university, a book that became a god, the buffs are stacked up. Li Yuan was only surprised for a moment, and then he regained his calm. After his true identity was exposed last night, he had already anticipated that there would be such a day, but he didn't expect it to happen so soon. So, Su Daji, you called me so many times just to talk about this. Su Ji muttered, my great writer, you didn't forget what you said yesterday, did you? What did you say yesterday? Li Yuan asked. He had just crawled out of the gentle country. For a moment, he really didn't think about what he said yesterday. Damn, Brother Yuan, Wang Shui and I are at the gate of your school. You told me you forgot. You just said you would get together with our high school classmates last night, and you forgot it in a blink of an eye. Xiao Shui and I didn't sleep at noon, and hurriedly took the bus to find you. Damn, Brother Yuan, you forgot about this. It really makes the brothers sad. Listening to Su Ji's resentful tone, Li Yuan couldn't help but blush. He really didn't think that he had agreed to get together with Su Ji and Wang Shui yesterday. They have been in Shanghai for more than half a month since they came from their hometown to attend university, and they still haven't gotten together. Li Yuan laughed awkwardly. It's all my fault. I forgot about it when I was busy. Where are you now? Suji replied, where else can I be? At the gate of your school. Li Yuan was speechless. You are all here? It's only 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Suji thought of Wang Yuchen, who had not paid attention to him for 3 days, and suddenly called him to ask him for help. He felt a little strange in his heart, and always felt that something special would happen today. He had already guessed what Wang Yuchen wanted to do, if it was really to match Li Yuan and Bai Wuxi, the old lovers. And from what Li Yuan said, he might have really found a new love. That scene was very exciting to think about. Wang Shui and I were planning to come to see you in the morning, but we had a change of plan, so we came a little later. Brother Yuan, I have to slaughter you tonight. Li Yuan laughed and scolded, you two are like pigs, aren't you afraid of eating me out of money? Suji laughed strangely, how can that be? You are a big writer with a monthly income of 1 million. Even if we increase our appetite tenfold, we can't make you out of money. His good high school buddy came to see him, and there was no reason not to go. Li Yuan could only agree, okay, you wait for me first, I'll be there soon. Chapter 100 People have 2 legs, and they play both sides. After hanging up the phone, Li Yuan looked at Xia's Haijin, who was hiding quietly in the corner with a lustful look, and waved to her. Haijin baby, come here, let's continue. Xia's Haijin shook her head shyly, her little hands tightly pinching the corner of her clothes, her feet seemed to be nailed there, her body was trembling, and the scene just now made her more shy and scared than yesterday in the cinema. Her voice was weak, as if she was about to cry. She stared at Li Yuan with tears in her eyes, like a little sheep that was stared at by a big bad wolf and had nowhere to go. She had a good impression of Li Yuan and was even willing to spend her whole life with him. But no matter how innocent she was, she felt that this process was a little too fast and she was not fully prepared. This feeling was very sweet, but also made her feel very scared and worried. It was like a dream and seemed very unreal. Perhaps at some point, when she woke up, this beautiful dream would be shattered. Xia's Haijin pursed her red lips, her voice was weak, but her eyes were particularly firm. Li Yuan, please don't be like this, okay, I'm a little scared. Li Yuan laughed dumbly, what are you thinking? I asked you to come here to teach you how to use the company account, how to manage income and expenditure, and not do bad things. Xia's Haijin asked cutely, really? Li Yuan said confidently, can I still lie to you? You will know if you try it. Xia's Haijin then mustered up the courage to come to Li Yuan, her body straightened, her head lowered, afraid of being suddenly attacked by Li Yuan again. Li Yuan hugged Xia's Haijin from behind, this time, without any clumsy moves, just quietly holding her hand and helping her operate the company account system. Jin, after logging into the company account, you can transfer money to each employee's bank card, or to the accounts of other companies with whom you have business dealings. Don't be distracted, relax a little, I'll teach you how to operate. First, you need to enter the company account number, bank card number, etc. of the transferee. Seeing that Li Yuan did not make any moves, Xia Zhijing gradually calmed down, and her tense body gradually relaxed, and she listened carefully to Li Yuan's hands-on teaching. Haijin, enter your bank card number and I'll show you. Xia's Haijin asked cutely, ah. Do you want to lose my bank card? Li Yuan said matter-of-factly, it's just the two of us here. My memory is not good and I can't remember my bank card number. Oh. Xia's Haijin nodded lightly and obediently entered her bank card account in the transfer column. She had a good memory and remembered her bank card account number clearly. Haijin, you can check the name of the payee and then enter the amount to transfer money directly to the other party's account. Li Yuan hugged Xia's Haijin, entered the number 30,000 yuan directly into her account, and made a note, September salary. Then, Before Xia's Haijin could react, she clicked to confirm. No matter how cute Xia's Haijin was at this time, she understood that Li Yuan was trying to manipulate his identity. She stared at Li Yuan with her eyes wide open, her face as white as snow, blushing again. Li Yuan, don't transfer so much money to me, I won't need it. Li Yuan pinched her little cheek, put his head close to hers, smelled the scent of her hair, and smiled. Haijin, you are the boss of the company, which is also a position. Second only to me, the boss, you naturally have to receive wages. From now on, you will be responsible for paying wages to other employees. Xia's Haijin lowered his head shyly, but, I don't need that much. The company has just started to operate, and there are many places to spend money. I just need to have enough to eat. After hearing this, Li Yuan felt warm in his heart, and said to himself, Haijin is indeed a good baby who works hard to manage the family. He rubbed her little head lovingly and pinched her soft little face. Li Yuan pretended to be serious and said, little fool, you are the boss of the company and the external image of our company. You have to dress up every day. Be pretty, be happy, and spend money generously, so that the employees below can have more confidence in our company. This is not for yourself, this is for the company, and for me, do you understand? Xia's Haijin suddenly laughed, and she rolled her eyes at Li Yuan in a rare way. Listening to him finding high-sounding reasons in a serious manner, she felt very moved in her heart. She obviously just wanted to be good to herself, but she always found so many valid reasons, and always still she was not allowed to refuse. Xia's Haijin's charming smile made Li Yuan stunned, and then he moved his mouth towards her again. After a long time, Xia's Haijin broke out of Li Yuan's arms with disheveled clothes. Li Yuan was a little unfinished. He looked at the time and saw that it was almost 3 o'clock. Time always flies by when doing business. Haijin, some of my high school classmates came to see me. Do you want to come with me? Xia's Haijin was a little hesitant, her eyes averted, and after thinking for a moment, she finally shook her head, pursed her lips, and answered softly. Li Yuan, I want to go back to school and go to the library to learn more about computers. I can help you in the future. Li Yuan wanted to take Xia's Haijin to show off in front of some good buddies, but after thinking about it, he felt that this was a bit disrespectful to Xia's Haijin. Since she didn't want to go, there was no need to force her. The future was long. Well, Haijin, since you like the Chinese department, after a while, I will help you apply to change your major, or directly study a second major, or a double major. As Li Yuan was talking, he suddenly thought of the curse of computer programmers that bald people make you stronger. He didn't want to see Xia's Haijin, a fairy girl as beautiful as a flower, with all her hair falling out. Well, in computer science, if you want to learn it, you can learn it. If you don't want to learn it, don't learn it. If you really want to learn it, you can develop into animation design. Hey, when our company's games are developed in the future, you can design your own heroes and skins of different styles, and they will definitely sell well. Xia's Haijin listened to Li Yuan's talk with admiration in her eyes. Although she didn't understand games before, she also understood what kind of game Honor of Kings would be during Li Yuan's introduction this morning. And if you can design your own heroes and put them into the game to be used by players, it will be very interesting and very fulfilling. Xia's Haijin glanced at Li Yuan and replied seriously, Li Yuan, I will study hard. Li Yuan smiled and said, well, I believe you. No matter what my Haijin baby does, he will definitely be the best. Then let's go back now. Yes, Xia's Haijin replied, then suddenly thought of it again, and asked in a low voice, what about the company? When I get off work at night, no one closes the door and no one cleans the house. I'd better stay. Li Yuan directly took her hand, you are the only one who can worry about it. I have arranged everything. Li Yuan was driving a rented Audi A8 and suddenly felt that it was time for him to buy a car. It was not an option to rent a car all the time. He might have to go back and forth between school and work frequently in the future. As his business territory expands, other businesses will continue to be added, and there will be more places to use cars. Drivers and bodyguards will also have to be matched after a while. Arriving at the south gate of the school, Li Yuan parked the car on the side of the road and wanted to take Xia's Haijin back to the dormitory first. Haijin, let me take you back. Xia's Haijin shook his head, you still have classmates waiting for you, so you don't need to send me off. I can do it myself.